We've all finished studying, be it school, college, university, or even we want to make a career change. We've come to realize that we need certain things in life. Or better, we want certain things in life. We want a nice car. We want a great house. The question, how do I get this? BA Varsity will show you, will teach you how to accomplish it. We all dream of having our own business, an e-business on the internet, and it's going to take a lot of research and a lot of things must come together for us to be able to have a sustainable business. Everything seems easy. It is, in fact. Just out of curiosity, if we look at the bottom right-hand corner, we'll see Yandex. That's the Russian version of Google. Google Yandex and have a look. And a new world will open. In the same way as BA Varsity will open a new world for you. In order to start my own business, I need to become a business architect. A business architect is someone that started off as a business analyst. And after some years of business analysis, I will have enough skills and experience to become a business architect. Then I will be able to architect my own business. Yes, I can still continue working in the corporate world as a business architect. BA Varsity will teach you how to be a systems analyst, a business analyst, and a business architect. In years gone by, we had a business, but everything was bundled together in the same building, the same business. And then we moved on. Very much like when we had the green screens, and even before that. It's the same as when I was digging swimming pools using spades. We moved on and bought a TLB to dig the hole. Now we need to understand how businesses were put together. Then we'll understand what we have today in some of the businesses, and we'll be able to architect new businesses. In the past, all of the functions were grouped together in a single entity. We did our CRM and sales frameworks, the order book, the point of sale, the market messages, the financial framework with the ledger, the accounting, the payroll, uh, the stock control. Everything was bundled together in one entity, and we called it a business. Business transformation is where we take this company that's got everything in one, and we extract the front end, the pointy business, and we will put it into the digital environment. The back-end utility business will stay exactly the same. Now think of a bank. Prior to the digital channel, in other words, prior to internet banking and mobile banking, everything was inside one branch. The product sales, the money that you could withdraw, money deposits, everything you wanted to do was in one building. I had to go to the branch, wait for opening times, Mondays through to Fridays, some of them Mondays through to Saturdays, 9 to 5. During the digital era, we left the branch with the back-end services exactly the way it was in the past. We extracted the front-end services and we placed them on the internet. Internet banking, digital banking, the retail sector is doing the same, the medical sector is doing the same, aviation, manufacturing, everybody is doing the same. So in essence, we are taking one company and we are creating two portions of the same company. The back-end utility business, where all the financial transactions take place within a general ledger, accounts receivable, accounts payable, stock control, regulatory, and everything that goes with a back-end function, stays in the back-end utility business. While the front end, we can mobilize it on the internet, via our own websites, via the social media, etc. And we can have more than one website pointing to the back-end utility business. Meaning I can have a website on Facebook, I can have a website on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. I can have my own website on any product I choose. All of them pointing back to the back-end utility business. Therefore, we call it the front-end pointy business. Now, business transformation starts with understanding the models, the industry models. Now, IBM has done a great job. There are models for banks, for aviation, etc. We'll get through the models. If you don't have one, we'll teach you how to create one. It's no rocket science. It's straightforward. Target operating models. Yes, there are many. We are looking at the target operating models for the processes. The as is, like they were doing it yesterday, and the to be, how we will be doing it tomorrow. Then we'll create a business landscape, which consists of customer journeys that will interact, buy, or use our products or our services through a specific channel, be it the internet channel, if I'm a bank, be it the ATM channel, be it the branch channel. Now, as a business architect, I need to understand my company's topology, the hardware topology, and the various layers in the topology. Otherwise, I would not make any sense. As a business architect, I will create a roadmap to do this business transformation where I'm going to take the one company, in our example, the bank that's got everything in the same branch, and I'm going to create two different businesses. The pointy front-end business, which will be sitting on the internet, and the back-end utility business that will be sitting in the branch. Now it's the same, whether I'm doing banking, insurance, energy, medical, retail, manufacturing, all of them are exactly the same. To start off a pointy front-end business, most people will go and create a website. Yes, there are many free software packages, templates that will allow you to create websites, WordPress websites, and everybody starts off, I'm going to start my own business, and they create a website, and then they think they have a business. All you have at this point in time is the platform for the pointy front-end business, because you have nothing at the back yet. You don't have any utility business where the products, the manufacturing, the accounting, the payments, and everything can take place. Now, the challenge is that everybody storms out there and they go and do these free courses. Some people are smart. They just Google, YouTube, and they start doing their own websites. Yeah, it's great, but you don't have a business. You only have the platform for the front-end pointy business. There are many other components that you need to understand. One of them is IT security. Yes, and on IT security, there are 100 different ideas today. You'll see a lot of people think that IT security is the email server and everything that goes through the email server. You'll find another lot looking at the firewalls, the TCP/IP ports, the UDP ports, and they write policies. And to them, that's IT security. Then we have the cybersecurity people. They got their own idea. The reality is, you need to go and study up and see that we have 7 layers of security. Layer 1 being the physical security, where the server is stored. And the last level is the presentation level, the presentation layer. And you find a lot of people that's obsessed with the presentation layer. They're all busy doing SQL injection and they're all IT security. Sadly, very few of these IT security accreditations and courses will give you a full understanding of IT security. Yes, you might have the accreditation for one component, and it's a very small component. To understand IT security, I suggest you go and Google ISO 7 layers of IT security. So, before you jump on the bandwagon and create your own website, start thinking about IT security. Then you'll hear the next things, cloud. Everything is in the cloud, whether I'm going to use Microsoft Azure or AWS or DigitalOcean. There's hundreds of them. There's a reality check. Nothing is in the cloud. Think about it. No server can run off solar energy yet. So they have to plug the servers into some electrical socket. Therefore, all servers must be resident somewhere on Mother Earth, on the ground. So there's nothing in the cloud. It's a perception, an illusion that anything is in the cloud. The reality is that you have outsourced your hardware. Now, the hardware could be standing across the road in the building just opposite you. You wouldn't know that because you're buying a service which you believe is in the cloud. Software as a service. It's in fact the reality of I have outsourced my hardware. I am buying a service from someone else that's got servers plugged in to an electrical circuit, standing in a building somewhere on Mother Earth, and they take care of it. So there's a lot of illusions that we get, a lot of things we must get past first before we really understand what we're doing. The first step is to understand how a business model ties things together for a digital front-end pointy business. As a business architect, you obviously have to understand that the CRM and sales framework has to be in the front-end pointy business. The order book system, the point of sale, and obviously the billing market messages. If I'm in banking, I have Swift or clearinghouse, those payments, credit cards, those are the messages. If I'm in the electricity market, there are electricity market messages. The gas industry is the same. I need to understand which of these components must go to the front end pointy business and which of the components will go to the back end utility business. Now again, that's why it's important to understand the industry models. The industry model will show us for this specific industry, these are the components in the front end business, and these are the components in the back end business. Now, if you don't have that, it's going to be impossible for you to do a business transformation. It's common sense. The front end pointy business will have a website or many websites, and they'll have links to the social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and I obviously will have a CRM system, be it Microsoft Dynamics, Salesforce, Suite CRM. I might even use Zoom for webinars. I might create emails that look like Google ads that I send out to my customers. The front end pointy business is the part that will interact with the customers. As a business architect, I need to understand how a business model ties things together for the back-end utility business. Now, given that I'm taking an existing company where everything, all the components are within the same company, bundled together, they don't have a digital channel yet. So I'm going to create a digital channel for this company. That's why we're doing the transformation program. The reality is that the back-end utility business will stay the same. Nothing will change. Yes, I know there's a lot of people that's on about legacy, legacy, legacy. Guys, there's no legacy in the back end. The general ledger system runs on the latest version of SAP or Sage Accounting, on the latest version of Microsoft Server, on the latest version of the database management system. Regrettably, the only thing that's legacy is the people's mindsets, thinking that there's legacy. There are no legacy systems in the back-end utility business. As I have explained, each and every component in the back-end utility business is running the most up-to-date, most current software. be it SAP, be it Sage Accounting, on the current hardware, current servers. The reality, if we don't understand, everything becomes legacy or black box to us. So let's get back to our transformation program. The back-end utility business is the part where I'll find the financial framework with accounts payable, accounts receivable, and the stock control system. And very little is going to change in the back-end utility business. Like it or not, by now, those processes by default have become lean. People are clever. People find the easier way to do things. So the back-end processes are probably pragmatic and lean at its best. Now, we saw in the previous slide that I'm going to take the front-end pointy business and move it to the internet. That's when I say I have digitalized the functions. Now, those are the functions that interact with customers. Now, obviously, accounts receivable and accounts payable, customers want to see their bills. And all of these products that are currently running, the current versions, offer functions that allow customers to see their bills online. We're looking at the back-end utility business, where we have SAP or Sage or Brilliant Accounting or QuickBooks or Pastel or whichever accounting system that we have chosen. Now, all of these products run on the latest version because companies are smart. They keep on upgrading them. They run on the latest versions of the operating systems and also the latest hardware. We back to the story of legacy, legacy, legacy. The only legacy we have is the statement, legacy. Yes, it's true. There are programs that were written in IBM Assembler in 1985 that are still running today. The reason, the new generation with their Java, Python, whatever language they choose, can't write the equivalent. Believe me, you take a daily train service plan that schedule trains, go and write it in Java or Python and see if you can outdo performance-wise an IBM Assembler program. Not possible. They've tried. Many of the railway companies have tried and they've made a mess. So the stuff that we see as legacy is because it's superior. It was written in a superior language to what we have today. A language that could cater for the exact needs. Yes, there are many languages that's no longer around, and obviously there are no skills. IBM assembler skills are very rare. So yeah, the skills have become legacy, but the product itself and the functionality is definitely not legacy. In fact, they recompile the programs over and over to the latest version of assembler. So even the code is the current version of assembler. The fact that the generation of today don't understand assembler, that's true. That doesn't make the products legacy. Now the same applies to databases. Everybody still believes there's legacy databases in the back. If you understand DB2, Oracle, MongoDB, MariaDB, you'll know that they are all ANSI SQL databases. So it's difficult to grasp then what they mean by legacy. And if you look at what the database systems are made up of, you might get a shock. And you realize that VSAM, KSDS, ESDS files are the backbone. So I'm not sure what legacy we have. Nevertheless, all these products run in the back end where we do the accounting. Yes, the functions to view my balance is available through the front-end pointy business. But the data and the functionality of these applications reside in the back-end utility businesses. Now, surely, we are not saying that SAP is legacy, are we? Now that we know, we're going to take a company that's got all the functions in one bundle and split it up into a utility backend. In other words, everything stays that are currently in the backend, and a pointy front end. We're going to extract the functions that are currently in the backend and put them on the internet, and we'll call that the pointy front end business. I can have many pointy front end businesses on different digital platforms pointing back to the back end utility business. Now, IBM has created a number of industry models. I normally start with the IBM models. It tells me, in essence, an example. If I want to start a bank, I need the following departments in the bank. Let's assume there are 37 departments. So I know exactly the 37 components. I can see that 7 of them I can take out and put them into the front end pointy business. So the IBM model guides me then, and I create my own industry model for my company. Alternatively, I can go and take the current companies that are in the market, make a combination of all the functions, the capabilities they have on their websites. And then I have a base to choose from. Then I can select from there the number of functions that I want to extract from my backend, if I have them in my backend, and put them onto my digital pointy front end business. It's common sense to do it that way. As a business architect, I need to understand the 5 principles of lean. Yes, you can go and write your green belt, your yellow belt, your black belt, your master black belt. That's great. But you still need to have common sense to identify the value of every process. You need to identify the value stream. You need to create a flow. And creating a flow doesn't mean I put something on a digital website and somebody fills in a form and presses submit. It goes to the back office. It's weekend. Monday they got 3,000 forms or emails to look at, and then someone will call you. That's not creating a digital flow. It's not adding any value either. You need to understand the concepts of establish a pool. The customer can pull in real time whatever they want. I want the balance. I click on a button. and there my balance is. And I continue to seek perfection. Now, this is very true for the front-end pointy business. In the back end, we will find that most of the processes are pragmatic, not necessarily 100% lean. And I'll give you an example. In Africa, at one stage, they took 11 steps to unload a container from a ship and get it into the container yard. However, in Rotterdam, it took him 4 steps. Now, it's easy to say I'm going to change it. But in Africa, they had unions. They had other problems that they had to count for. You could only stack the containers this high when it was empty because the wind would blow them down. So everything is dependent on the culture and even where the company is located. So it's not, I take the 5 lean principles that I studied, I got my master black belt and I go and implement it. You need to have common sense as well as the 5 principles of lean in order for you to do a successful transformation program. Target operating models. Digital changed the way we do operating models, or a TOM. In the non-digital era, our own processes were important. They were driving our business. The resources followed our own processes, and we used the technology that was familiar to our resources. In the digital era, we went out and bought a specific technology. Now, the technology drives a predefined market process. That implies if I buy SAP, I must implement the SAP processes. If I buy Backbase, I must implement the Backbase processes. If I implement something different, SAP won't work. Backbase won't work. Therefore, we now say that technology drives the predefined market processes, and I now need resources that know the predefined market processes. Now, the predefined market processes are the lean processes that everybody is using. So it's not unique own processes anymore, but it's best of breed processes that are being used by everyone in the market. We're still on question 2, digital innovation. Now let's look at the non-digital era. I had a swimming pool company. I had people that were following my own predefined process, unique process I believed, using spades to dig the swimming pool hole. And it took my resources 2 weeks to dig the hole, and I could build 2 pools per month. I then moved to the digital era. I bought a TLB. Now, I dig a swimming pool per day. And I only work Monday to Friday. Therefore, I can now do 20 swimming pool holes a month with 1 resource. Now, the same applies if I had a pizza shop. In the non-digital era, I had a wood-burning oven, and I could produce around 20 pizzas an hour. In the digital era, I went and bought a conveyor belt oven. Now I can produce 200 pizzas per hour. If we look at the resource requirements, to do the 200 pizzas per hour, I no longer need a pizza maker that can stand in front of the oven and make sure that the pizzas don't burn. The technology has got a predefined process, and I got different skill requirements, and I can produce 10 times more. It's important to do a business landscape. Now we'll see that a business landscape consists of three components: customer journeys, products or services, and distribution channels. It doesn't help you creating a front-end website, you link it to all the social media, but you can't tell me which customer journeys will be on the front end, which services will be available for those customer journeys. You need to decide the customer journeys per channel. Now we got a branch channel maybe. If we got a bank, we got an ATM channel, and we got a digital channel. Therefore, it's important to do a business landscape. Now, a lot of security will also come into play. If I'm a bank, the customer journey that says change my limits on my ATM card, I probably would not want to do it via the ATM channel. If they get hold of my credit card, they can change my limits at the ATM and take all my money. So a lot of testing scenarios are defined when I do my business landscape. A business landscape consists of three components: the customer journeys, in other words, the buttons that the customer will click on my website. Remember, I created this website and I linked it to all the social media. Didn't help me one bit because I do not know which customer journeys should be on the website. I need to define them. I need to decide which products or services these customer journeys will use. And I will decide through which channel. If I'm a bank, I got three channels. The branch channel, where I go into a branch and I speak to a teller, or an ATM channel where I go to an ATM, or a digital channel where I use my mobile banking or my internet banking on my tablet or my laptop. At BA Varsity, we will give you a template of level 1 customer journeys that are required for every single industry. No matter what industry you're going to do a digital pointy front-end business, you will require these level 1 customer journeys. At BA Varsity, we will teach you how to refine my level 1 customer journey to a level 2 customer journey. And we'll start teaching you about capabilities. That will be the tabs that you find on the navigation bar. While level 2 and level 3 will be buttons. That will be the actual customer journey. At BA Varsity, we will teach you how to refine your level 2 customer journey to a level 3 customer journey, which is the detail. That's the button on the screen where the customer is going to click and start the customer journey. At BA Varsity, we will show you how to take your products from level 1 to level 2 refinement. We will teach you about your distribution channels. Next, we need to teach you a user story provides a single source of truth and is to be developed and agreed upon prior to any coding. So no matter if you went to university and studied and you're now a programmer, whether you can do Java, Python, C#, VB, doesn't matter. You still cannot write any program. Yes, you can code, but you can't write any program because you need to create a user story. And we'll teach you how to build user stories. User stories have 6 components. Only once the user story has been defined will the programmer be able to code. Yes, I know. Everybody tells me I can write any program. I got news for you. Writing programs, do you understand that a program has got a pre-flow, a basic flow, a subflow, an alternate flow, exception flow, and a post-flow? No, they never taught you that at university. That's why you cannot write any program yet. Yes, you can code, but you certainly cannot write a program that will function. Please bear with me, and you'll see why I say that. At BA Varsity, we will teach you how an API works. Now, interestingly, APIs, we'll see later, interacts with databases or files or tables. Now, yes, if we look on LinkedIn, we see millions of blogs and people writing about APIs. Let's rationalize it for a second. An API that interacts with a database table or a file can only do one of 4 things. It can select, that's reading a record or reading all the records. The second thing it can do, it can insert a row or a record. The third thing it can do, it can update an existing record. And the fourth thing it can do, it can delete a record. Now, if you don't understand these basic fundamentals, you're going to get lost in all the stories written about APIs. Everybody has got 100 million APIs. APIs has been around since the late 70s. It's not something new. Yes, everybody has now latched onto the word API. And you'll see they got many new names. But an API can only do one of 4 things. We'll now see how an API interacts with a database table. Now, to explain a database, think of an Excel workbook. That's the database. Every sheet in there, you can say that is a table within the database. Every table will have rows, like you have rows on your Excel sheet. We also call it records. Every row or record will have columns, like you have on your Excel sheet. Now, a column is also a field. It's the same thing. Now, tables have indexes, unique indexes, non-unique indexes. There are many attributes in a database that we need to learn, like referential integrity, foreign keys, on delete, cascade, on delete, restrict, audit all, audit none. There are a number of parameters. And that's got nothing to do with create database, create table space, create table, create index, drop table. Those are database administrator commands. We are merely discussing the API that's interacting with a database table. It can select a row, in other words, read it. It can insert a row, can update a row, and it can delete a row. And you'll hear the programmer speak about CRUD functions. C, CRUD, to create. In other words, to insert. R is read or select. U is update. And D is delete. That's what CRUD functions mean. You need to know the layers of the topology. You need to be able to look at your company's topology and see where the presentation layer is. It's important because we'll be rendering the screen to the customer via the presentation layer. We need to understand where the business layer is, where the SOA layer is, and the data layer. The data layer is where we will find the databases. The SOA layer is where we will find the APIs. The business layer is where we will find the back-end programs. And the presentation layer is where we will find the front-end programs and the screens that the customer can see. Now we need to understand the hardware, the software, and the flow, because we'll see a little bit later that we are going to navigate our customer journey through this topology. If you don't know the topology, how will you be able to navigate it? Do you expect a programmer to guess? And we'll see that my customer journey has got 6 or more flows. It's got a pre-flow. So I need to explain to the programmer how the pre-flow should flow. It's got a basic flow. When everything goes right, correct. I got a post-flow. Where must we land the customer once the transaction has been successful? I got a subflow. The customer clicked on help. The customer stays on the same screen. It's a subflow. I need to explain to the programmer what to code. I got alternate flows. I got a cancel button on the screen. I need to explain to the programmer what must happen when the customer clicks on the cancel button. I got exception flows. The transaction times out. The database is down. Something has gone wrong. I need to explain to the programmer what to code. Now you understand that even if you've studied at university, you still don't know how to write a program. You first need to understand the topology. You need to understand the various layers. You need to understand what an API is. You need to understand what a database is. You need to understand the 6 flows of a customer journey. When I did my business landscape and my customer journeys, and I refined them from level 1 to level 2 to level 3, I started realizing capability models. Level 1 will be capability model capabilities. They will become tabs on a navigation bar. Level 3 will be buttons and will be functions inside a capability. Example, I have a capability called payments. It will be a tab on the navigation bar. Go look at your internet banking. When you click on the tab, the capability called payments, it will open a screen and it will give you as many as 17 different buttons, 17 different functions that are all part of the same capability. Pay single, pay multiple, pay future dated, pay once off, etc. Therefore, I create a capability model. And inside the capability model, I will allocate the functions. I will then map the capability model over my topology diagram with the various layers. This will allow me to see at one glance what I have. And if I want to make a change, I will know exactly which function, which capability will be affected. If I want to add a new function, I will find an existing capability. Or I will create a new capability. We'll teach you how to write a use case for every single customer journey. In other words, every function that a customer can click on, a button. We'll teach you the pre-flow, a basic flow when everything goes correct as expected, subflow, and there can be many subflows in a specific customer journey. We'll teach you alternate flows. Again, there can be many alternate flows for a specific customer journey. We'll teach you about exception flows. Again, there can be many exception flows in a specific customer journey. And a post flow. Now you need to understand that for every one of these flows, the programmer must write some code. And for every one of these flows, the application solution architect must draw some sequence flow diagrams. And the tester must write test scripts for every single one of these flows for the specific function. Yes, to program is easy. There's about 30 different programming statements. To learn them, if it takes one a day, in a month you can know programming. It does not imply that you can write a program that will work, because you need to understand the pre-flow, basic flow, subflow, alternate flow, exception flow, and post-flow. Besides this, you need to understand patterns and stages. We'll teach you all of this at BA Varsity. For every single customer journey, we will map the customer journey, the function, across the topology, the 4 layers. And we will indicate the exact APIs to be used and the exact tables that will be accessed by the APIs. Yes, it is very detailed. The programmer can only code what we tell him to code. And the computer system cannot guess. It will only execute what the programmer has coded. The tester can only test what the programmer has coded and what we have specified. So as a business analyst, we'll make sure that there will be sufficient detail. You will learn how to do a wireframe and do the wireframe definition for the specification, the validation, and the behavior. You learn that every single one of the flows in the use case will have a sequence flow diagram. Some of the flows, like subflows, can have many sequence flow diagrams. We'll teach you how to start and create sequence flow diagrams. You'll be able to create sequence flow diagrams for every single function, every single flow of the function. You learn that each flow follows a certain path for the function. You'll get to understand a test case sample, a template. You learn that every application will have many test scenarios, which were defined during the business landscape. Test scenarios consist of test cases, and test cases consist of test scripts. During the course, we'll be creating a test case for every single one of the 10 functions. At BA Varsity, we will teach you to become a business analyst. And with a number of years of experience, you'll become a very good business architect. You can then decide to start your own business or stay in the corporate world and continue as a business architect, maybe even become an executive and later the CEO of the company. At BA Varsity, at the end of the business analyst course, you'll be writing an open book exam to obtain a competency certificate.